Hey folks, how's it going? Everything hopefully is going well for you. It's slowly getting there for me. And now finally getting back into the swing of things after a few days off. I really needed them. I really needed them. Today we'll talk about a couple of things that were interesting. And I'll do a video later on about my observations about everything that happened in India. It just, personally, there's been a lot of things that I've had to deal with. Nothing bad. It's just things that I've just, been gone for a while. So I have to be able to settle them and kind of organize the house, if you will, from that perspective. We'll talk about India, one aspect of it. We'll talk about Argentine football. That's another thing. But again, I'll do these every so often. Hopefully, I can do them once every 2 weeks or so and be able to answer certain questions that you have. I would love to be able to do that. And make sure you do it. I'll kind of throw out the signal and say, hey guys, questions, send them my way. Also, if you want to have any additional questions, leave them in the comment section, leave likes, leave all that type of stuff, so we can kind of get this ball rolling a little bit more. Really want to get a little bit more active in terms of getting closer and closer to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Who knows how far I can go. And this is a one-man operation, so we'll see how far we can take this, and it'll be an interesting thing to do so if that does end up happening. So number one, Shivam gives an indication what changes need to be made basically in order to improve coaching in India. I'm paraphrasing just to give you an idea, and everything goes with everything, Shivam, in terms of football. If I were able to talk about coaching, I would also have to talk about players, and I would have to talk about infrastructure. I would have to talk about a lot of things that end up being vital for coaching. This is not me, okay? I give you my opinion, but I also give you a lot of things I base my opinion on, and one of them was observation. Second of all was speaking to coaches. I happen to be doing commentary, not just in English, but also a lot of the other, in Bengali, in Hindi, etc., etc. They talk to me about that. They say, hey, that Indian coaches in general, and this is not me talking. This is a couple of my co-workers, a couple of my partners or colleagues that I was working with during the time that I was with the ISL just recently. Indian coaches are very book smart. Now, the application of book smarts onto a practical setting, onto a real life setting, then that ends up being different. And there needs to be more of that done, right? Well, there's a problem with that. If you don't have the field availability in some parts of India, in some regions of India, coaches don't have that possibility to go and coach a team, or go and have a pitch available or easily accessible to go and help and coach a team and apply everything they've learned in a seminar, in a coaching setting, in a convention, in their certification, in their badges, etc., onto a pitch and execute that on a consistent basis. There isn't that. The facilities aren't there. It's very few and far between where you will find someone or some situation where they can do something like that. So that is a problem. Again, that's infrastructure. Players have also had, because of the lack of coaching, and this is just the way things are, some players have forgotten it. And this is, again, not me talking. This is also a coaching pet peeve that a coach in the ISL that I had spoken to at one point said, well, because of the lack of coaching in India and the lack of coaching at the developmental levels, certain players have acquired certain habits. And with that, the problem ends up being that you do have players that, the simplest of things, they can't strike a ball with their left foot if they're right-footed. Being able to use both feet isn't something that's very not prominent, but something that ends up being out of the ordinary or uncommon within Indian football. Whether it's the I League, whether it's at the youth level, whether if it's at the ISL. So you have a lot of that needs to be worked on And there's certain things that coaches need to work on that should have been worked on at a much younger age. Thus, the acquiring of bad habits, the acquiring of certain bad technique or certain mechanics that aren't appropriate in certain actions. And that also comes down to coaching. And coaching comes down to so like I said, everything comes together in terms of what Indian football is right now. And the ability that they or the capability that Indian coaches have at this moment, and the lack of opportunities that they have. Now, can you say that there are coaches that aren't qualified? No, you have to say quite the opposite. There are coaches that are extremely qualified. And Khalid Jamil is the number one example. An Indian coach that has their team in second place in the Indian Super League is something that's basically, whoa, it's one of the big stories of Indian football and the Indian Super League this year. Yes, he's leading Jamshedpur. Maybe, I can't say they're the least talented team, but they're a team that doesn't have what a Mohun Bagan has, or what a Mumbai City have, or that type of resource, that type of capability, that type of player. Although there are some talented players in Jamshedpur, but the execution of an idea, and he's been able to bring that across, and players have been able to buy into it, and he understands what he has at his disposal. It says, okay, based on this, and it's a simple concept, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something that I'm saying that it's revolutionary or something that it's oh my God, like something straight out of a laboratory. No. These are the players I have. How can I play them best? How can I play them best within a system? He's done that. And he's been very successful at it. At times it's difficult to understand or have him in a situation where he can explain it. He's a man of few words. He's not the most welcoming when it comes to, and this is not saying that he's a bad person. I'm just saying that when he's in front of a camera, he doesn't speak as much. He wants to give you a quick answer and go. He's a man of few words. But when he's with his players, you see immediately the way that his team is able to express that idea. You know that within the training sessions and within moments where he can speak to them, the idea comes across very well. We can't say it doesn't. So the raw talent is there. It's being able to perfect it. He had to go abroad to be able to feel a bit more challenged. And players in India need to start thinking about going abroad a little bit more. Maybe there's a little bit too much comfort in terms of that. I have other things in terms of comfort of certain players in Indian football and the problems that might convey. But that might be for another video at another time. So we'll talk about that in the very near future. So we continue. And the next question is from Vedran Dedic. Vedran's basically asking me to shed some light on what happened with Argentine football on Paramount Plus. It is no longer there. He has to watch it now on Fanatis. Simple. There's really not much else to say because, well, they didn't renew the rights. Basically, that's it. And they were a major rights holder worldwide for Argentine football to be shown in English with a world feed, with their own with a world feed with commentators. I mean, there's not much else to say. I mean, once it was a contract that lasted until the end of, well, basically the end of 2024, and I mean, we were told that it wasn't going to be renewed. CBS and Paramount said that they weren't going to renew it, and it wasn't renewed. It's basically how the process has gone. I mean, they're waiting, or by me saying they, Argentine football, the rights holders worldwide for the Argentine league are still waiting to see if there is a new country or a new network or a new partner that they can use world feed commentators again. At this point, no one has really lifted their hand and said, hey, we want to see Argentine football. it just didn't work. It hasn't worked out, or it hasn't been that way. Uh, it's part of the business. I mean, and it is what it is. I can't, I really, I wish I could tell you more, but there's really not much else to say in terms of that. It's a very simple thing, and unfortunately, it's not being shown in the U.S. I think it is being shown in the U.S. via Fenites, but that's the world feed in Spanish, which always comes with those broadcasts. English ends up being a different story, because not only is English in each of the matches, and every one of the matches had some sort of commentary. At the very beginning, the first two and a half seasons, almost three. Actually, I take that back. First 3.5 seasons, or the first 3.5 tournaments of Argentine football, they had world feed commentary, both commentator and co-coms, in English for every single match. Now, the last tournament, it was reduced to one-man booth, and then the 5 big games of the round had both commentary and co-commentary. I mean, excuse me, had co-coms as well. That, of course, was part of the cuts, and reason why we started to see a lot more of because at that point CBS, Paramount were only showing 5 matches instead of every single one that they were showing before. And again, it happened last year when the Brasileirão was not renewed, and that's also part of it as well. Basically, the South American end of Paramount Plus and everything, that's basically done. There wasn't an interest by the North American market in terms of South American football, plain and simple. And it's a business decision at the end of the day. I wish, like I said, I wish I could tell you more, but there's not much else to say. It's a very simple thing that ends up being this. For me, it's unfortunate, because it's a league that I enjoy doing, and I work with some great people, and I really wanted to continue doing it. I really enjoyed each weekend doing Boca, River, whoever. I would do 2, 3, sometimes 4 matches a week. So I really enjoyed Argentine football, and we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's not a so long. It's a see you soon, because if, let's say, Paramount comes back and says, "Hey, we'd like to have you back," because it happens a lot of times. "Hey, by the way, we'd like to have you back." And the negotiations go through, everything works out, we come back, or we go somewhere else. There's another network that's interested. So those are the things that happen. Basically, that's my story, and I'm basically sticking to it. So, guys, it's been a pleasure, and again, keep those questions coming, keep those inquiries coming my way. I'll do my best to get each and every one of you answered as best as possible, okay? So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do everything you need to do. Give me feedback, make fun of me, whatever. But as long as you're here, I'm happy, okay? Talk to you soon. Ciao.